Metal Gear Solid Delta is an easy game, much easier than the original because the enemy AI is the same but the controls are much better. So I decided to play naked through the entire game, non-lethal playthrough on European Extreme. The rules for this challenge are simple. I have to stay naked the entire game and cannot equip any other camo. Also, I cannot kill any humans, as well as this run will be on European Extreme, which means if I get detected I have to reset. I will also do no continuous, which means I can only load saves, so there is no way to kill myself 3 times in order to heal. We start the game and well, we have already failed the challenge before it started. Okay, to fix this forceful mistake I removed my clothing and face in order to start the naked challenge for real. First section with soldiers I already triggered the caution by missing my ammo. I fixed this mistake by knocking everybody out with my tranquilizer, wasting much more ammo than needed in the process. Starting the second section in a tutorial, I knocked the beehive and this removes every soldier from this section. Now we get to where Sokolov is being held. I hit a soldier but trigger a caution due to the other soldier seeing the bullet. Luckily I knocked everybody down and then get detected when closing in on Sokolov. I get detected 2 more times and then finish this section effectively beating the Virtuous mission and starting the Operation Snake Eater. I lose my gun against the boss, forcing me to go through another Virtuous mission with only 3 stun crits. As you will soon realize, when I don't have my Mark 22 this is a struggle, otherwise it's quite easy. Until certain points, of course. I get detected once, but then crawl my way through, and to remove the caution I get detected and restarted the autosave, removing the status. I throw 2 stun grenades to get rid of the 2 soldiers under the hive, and last stun grenade in combination with CQC to knock the final soldier out, proceeding to the next area. I crawl around the soldiers looking for me before picking up the cardboard box, a very important item. I then picked up a mine detector, which I will never use, and thermal goggles, which are useful in 2 boss fights. I met Eva and entered the fight against the Ocelot unit. This is actually a very simple fight as long as you know the positioning. I crawl under the building and shoot my lethal gun into a tree in the open hatch. This causes 4 of the Ocelot units to join next to it, allowing me to use Trank gun to knock them out. I go to the other open hatch, trank the other guy and exit out in the open. This way I shot the guy on the roof and then also shoot the 2 guys next to the building. There are only 2 guys left on the other side, which I can just shoot from the distance, clearing this section. I blow myself up and partially heal a serious injury twice in order to increase my max health and proceed to the next area. I pick up the crop cap in the swamp area and proceed through another area killing dogs because it doesn't count towards killing anyone, and then tranquilize all the other soldiers before crawling to the next area. Here I shoot those 3 guys in my way, pick up the life medicine which I'll need since I'm naked, ignore the helicopter since it's much easier to avoid the helicopter on the mountains compared to whatever those flying soldiers are, and I proceed to an Ocelot fight. Ocelot himself is not really that difficult. I beat him on the first try by of course tranquilizing him since this is non-lethal playthrough. I fell into a cave, blow myself up a few more times and waited to heal before fighting the pain. Trying to non-lethal this boss might cause him to be one of the hardest bosses in the game, if not the hardest. Having to run away each time he sends hornets at me or shoots at me with Tommy gun, I was swimming between 2 platforms. It doesn't help that only headshots do any meaningful damage to him. I used grenades and shotgun to remove his hornets many times, and of course died a couple of times before finally beating him. Most of my damage came from grenades, since if you're in awkward position you can't avoid them, and currently I can only survive 1 hit of them. Him summoning hornets as soon as I removed them proved very annoying and just extended the fight. He also forced me to use one of my 2 life medicines in order to beat him, which is not really that bad since I can't hold more than 3, and I get 2 more before the Fury fight anyway, and I don't need them before that. Proceeding through the cave, I enter the river and equip the croc cap to get rid of any chance of being detected. I don't know why I picked up this sniper rifle, but I did it anyway and then forced myself into a warehouse after tranking all the enemies. This warehouse is a little harder section because you have to get a good angle on the 4 enemies, otherwise you get detected. It took me 2 failed attempts before succeeding and blowing up their food supply. I entered the forest where here I captured the Tsuchinoko because why not, and got myself a few poison dart frogs prepared for the fear boss fight. In this section I only needed to trank 1 guard before crawling into the inner walls. Here I used my trank gun to put everyone to sleep and enter the lab. I then put on a scientist uniform and... wait, no, wrong run. I wanted to say I have to use the trank gun instead, which caused me to get detected many times, especially by this guy upstairs. Got him! What? What was that? After many failures, I finally entered downstairs. This was a little easier, although not much easier. The cardboard box strategy still works against the scientists as long as the guards don't see you. For those who don't know, you were and still are able to avoid detection from scientists by running around in a cardboard box. They get confused but don't do anything. So as long as I knock a guard out, I'm golden. I shoot the guard and 2 scientists from a good angle and then meet Gronin. After leaving, this is much harder section. It took me many failures before realizing knocking exists. So I baited the guy, knocked him out and then used the cardboard box to avoid the scientists. In the second section I used the trank gun like before after many failures because this guy upstairs always noticed me before finally getting rid of the enemies and proceeding. The next 2 sections are just again crawling and tranking the enemies before finally meeting the fear. Realizing the old strategy with stun grenade, fake death pill and AK-47 doesn't work anymore, I had to fight him normally. Probably one of the easier fights since I just threw poison dart frogs to prevent him from healing the stamina, and then stamina just gets depleted instantly. With a few shots I was able to take him down. Although sadly this has caused me to use up all the ammo I've had for Mark 22, making the next section a real struggle. Fuck. Fuck! Seriously? Snake! Fuck! Fuck. Fuck! Are you kidding me? I wanted to knock him out, but I couldn't. Shit. Didn't work. Oh! That worked! I finally got through by using a few stun and smoke grenades before the game finally gave me a few more bullets. And I got myself a few more by going outside the warehouse, and after putting everyone to sleep, I finally loaded myself with bullets again. I proceeded through the next area not seeing this trap. Anyway, I just put guys in my way to sleep and proceeded to the end boss fight. This was a little bit more annoying than usual due to the fact that he saw me first, making me unable to get to him before he switched places. It also doesn't help that being a little bit colorblind, it's very hard for me to spot those footprints, making this fight take a very long time. But of course, with the help of the stick spray and trank gun, I succeeded and proceeded to the greatest boss, the ladder. I also blew myself up multiple times because I have time to heal before the next boss fight, which I did many more times before and after this section. Basically, each time I've had breathing room, I did that, and in reality I was just preparing for one boss fight. Of course, you probably know which one. Anyway, reaching the mountains, I never found this section particularly difficult. I usually put on Ocelot's camo to be almost invisible, but this time I can't do that, so I just crawled and crawled and crawled until I finally reached Eva. Trying to reach the tunnel, I put to sleep this flamethrower guy and waited until the soldier looked the other way before jumping down and proceeding through the door. and to the hardest boss in this game, the Fury. I'm unable to extinguish the flames by changing the camo, so the only way to do that is the cardboard box. Also, being naked, flames do insane damage and I died a lot of times. One time him burning up my cardboard box, which I didn't know can even happen. Shit! Okay, that was unfair. What the fuck? Can you give me a break, Fury? Wait, what happened with my cardboard box? Did I straight up lose it? His first phase was easy, but it's when he gets under the half health that he gets ridiculously aggressive. On a winning attempt, I had to use the 2 life medicines in order to win. But at this point, where else will I use them? I lose them anyway when I enter the prison. Of course, I also learned how to properly reload the Mosin Nagant sniper rifle, which surprisingly still works. I proceeded to Grozny Grad exterior. This part is actually somewhat easy since I still have my trusty Mark 22. There are really only 2 sections I have to get through before reaching the inside. Here I donned the scientist's uniform and... yeah, I can do that. Yeah, capturing Raiden while naked. This makes this section so much harder. I then decided to go through the door, proceeding to the hangar before re-entering just to change my reset point. Which I've had much more control from this position to knock everyone out before finally capturing Raiden. Arguably this was pretty much the same as a normal run, because if enemies see you with Raiden you get detected anyway, so scientist's uniform or not, it's the same. I could wait for Raiden to get to me, but this would take forever, so I just opted for putting everyone to sleep and do it this way. After a few tries, I did it and entered the torture scene losing the eye. I of course removed the transmitter because I'm not dealing with Ocelot unit with no tools and naked as well as on European Extreme. Thank you very much. I threw back the food to gain the Sieg spray and knock the guy out before unlocking the door and escaping. Here I just decided to go with a more reliable route and knock this guy out before finally exiting the hatch in the back. Proceeding through the next section, I had to wait until those 2 guys were turned around, knocking this guy out and reaching the northwest section where it's the escape point. I failed many times before realizing I can knock those 2 guys out with the Sieg spray and then this guy as well. Before waiting for the dog to go back to sleep and then knocking him out just for the good measure. And then I escaped behind the guard's back. I escaped the tunnel, picked up another life medicine and entered the Sorrow fight. Here it will be the proof if I actually killed someone accidentally. I can only see the bosses, so is the run still alive? Yeah, seems like it. Beating Sorrow, or rather said reviving, I met Eva and got the C3, picked up another cardboard box, which I'll definitely need, and proceeded back to the Grozny Grad. This section is really easy. I used many tranquilized bullets before reaching the truck and then waited in the box until caution expired. And then I got transported into a hangar. I used the box to avoid the maintenance guys and Tran gun to knock out everyone in my way. I placed the C3 and entered the Volgin fight. This fight is easy, the only problem is the damage he does because I'm naked. In the first phase I equipped the gun to bait the electricity attack because it's much easier to avoid it, and just remember to unequip the gun before he uses it. The second phase was much harder though. It took me a few tries. I used glowing mushrooms to avoid electric attack and then defeated him with CQC only. And then this enters me into the chase scene. Now usually I would equip either sneaking suit to cut out the damage in half, or Volgin's camo to be shot at last, but of course I cannot do that, so I'm left at the mercy of enemies and my aimbot. Of course I suck at aiming, so already at the second part I was forced to use the life medicines since I've had no way of winning otherwise. And I still barely survived though. Another issue is also I cannot heal any other way through the entire chase sequence, so one life medicine is all I have left. So sparing my final life medicine, I failed this part many times since I've had almost zero health left, so I cannot get hit almost any time. After many restarts, I finally did it without using the final life medicine and entered the fight against the Shagahot. This one is quite doable by taking zero damage. I used my AK to blow up the missiles and my RPG to damage the threads, and then of course hit the Shagahot. After many restarts, of course, I did it. Second phase is even easier. I hit the threads with RPG, then headshot Volgin with Mosin Nagant until he died, which of course enters me back into another bike chase scene. At least I get healed this time automatically. Losing almost half my HP in the first section, this is really not looking good. The second section being the hardest because I cannot hit those flyers for the life of me, forcing me to use my final life medicine and enter the third section with almost no health left. This is the easiest section, but at my current health it's the hardest. I died many times, almost getting to the finish line, but dying just before it. Yeah, I cannot survive. Fuck!
Here comes the jump. Hold on tight.
I might be able to do it. Yeah! When I finally succeeded with the almost perfect aim, I had almost no health left, and after the crash scene I spent a lot of time waiting just to heal myself for the final boss fight. But as you'll soon see, I didn't have to do that. Anyway, first escape section, the enemies are following me, so because I'm naked I get detected almost instantly. Oh, this is so annoying. After a few failed attempts, I got the idea to just throw a grenade, hoping I don't hit anyone. Thinking about it, smoke grenade would have just been better, but alas, it worked. The explosion was just enough to delay enemies, allowing me and Eva to escape. The second section basically boiled down to putting everyone I saw with the thermal goggles to sleep and then proceeded to the final boss fight. I can say the boss is disappointing. I used one CQC parry once I figured out the timing and then just shot her with Mosin Nagant from the distance before she could do anything. In the original this wasn't really viable because aiming sucked, but here it's just easy and very disappointing. If the controls have improved, so should the enemy AI in my opinion. The only boss that really became harder in this game is the Pain, but everyone else is either the same or in most cases just easier. Anyway, I beat the boss with just shooting my Mosin Nagant from behind the cover until I win. I proceed to run away with Eva and of course do one last showdown against Ocelot. Here I chose the left gun, which always holds the bullet, and shot him, finishing the challenge. I also beat the game with just over 5 hours and 0 continuous, and seeing my stats I realized I almost got everything for the Foxhound rank. The only thing preventing me from the Foxhound rank besides the easy to achieve time is the life medicines that I used, because then I shouldn't use any, and serious injuries, which is just simple to avoid since most of them were self-inflicted. So I decided to do that challenge next in the next video. So if you wanna see more of this, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Now go!